Hi guys, and welcome to Halifax Here. My name is Gina Harnish.
And I'm Adam Cooper.
Halifax Here is a My Halifax weekly podcast where we upload right here on our YouTube channel every Friday. We talk about things happening in Halifax, answer questions, and talk about things we thought you might like to talk about. So let's get into it. So for this week's episode, we're going to be talking about events and some of the different events that go on in Halifax. And not just, because we already touched on the festivals, some of our favorite festivals that happen mostly in the summertime. But we kind of wanted to talk about some of the other events and stuff that happens in Halifax throughout the year. Me and Adam, we actually recently just went to Video Games Live last week, which was so much fun. And it was my second time going, and it was your first time.
First time.
And I think, honestly, I would say it was better than the last time. I didn't go last year. I went, I think the year before. Yeah. I think it was better this time around because of who was the guest, who they brought with them. So basically, those of you who don't know, Video Games Live, it was created by this guy, Tommy, I forget his last name, Tommy something.
Tommy Black.
But he's like a musician and really loves video games and music, and he basically wanted to create this event that combined.
He works on video games.
He works on video games.
He was a composer, and he composed a lot of it. He has the Guinness World Record for being the composer on the most video games, or something like that.
I think it was that he played the most video games or something. Or maybe it was the composer.
I think he composed, and by played, he plays like on the soundtrack, I think.
So he wanted to create this event that combined, the orchestra and symphonies with video game music. And I just think that concept is really cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the reason why we're talking about events versus festivals is because a lot of times we get asked, how do you guys go and film so many different events all the time? And because literally there's always something going on in the city. Now we're lucky because Halifax is very much a festival kind of place, so when the summer comes around there's tons to do. But like last week we were at Video Games Live. We then went to the Beverage Expo. This week we're going to go to Geekwinox, and we'll probably find something else to do. And it's just a case of there's always stuff happening. And for me, when I look at Video Games Live, is some people like, we're just going to listen to video game music, and it's like, yeah. And the thing is, he was talking about it, and what he said made the most literal sense that I think I've ever heard. I love movies. I'm a die-hard movie person. I love movie soundtracks. Like when you hear the Indiana Jones theme tune, or the Star Wars theme tune, it's like, oh yeah, that's Indiana Jones music. When you play a video game, and if you don't play video games, this probably won't make sense, but if you ever have played a video game, when you hear the music from Sonic the Hedgehog, that's your music, because you were Sonic the Hedgehog when he beat King Koopa. No, that's Mario. Or Doctor or whatever his name was. And that's the thing with being at some of the Video Games Live, is like to see a full symphony playing the music with a guy like ripping on an electric guitar, singing and just giving it the big beans. Like, it was so cool. And they also, and think why I'm gonna put my stall out early and say it's probably one of the best events I've gone to. I know, and if you watch my Halifax, I say that about every event I'm at, it's the best event I've ever gone to. But that's just because people keep raising the bar. But in terms of that kind of event where you're basically sitting as an audience and listening to music, they go to a lot of trouble and skill to make it very visual. Like, even though the music's playing and having the time, like they have big screens up that are playing it. And they have
playing clips from the game that they're playing.
And they've got like lights and lasers, and they also put on when they have breaks, they put on like little skits about that are like very video game-ish. And it was just really cool to kind of be there, and it felt like it wasn't like you sitting there just like rocking out. It was like it was very much like an experience. Yeah, and he said also during the event that it's not like your typical symphony experience. Like he was like, if you find something funny, if you want to cheer, like we want to feel the energy. Like you can laugh, you can shout out. Like it's you don't have to be quiet. You don't have to sit there in silence. Yeah. Listening to an orchestra. Like it's very energetic and very lively. And we've gone to SciFi Symphony several times, and every time I go, I'm like, we should film it for my Halifax. But then I always worry because I'm like, well, the music's technically licensed, then I don't know if I could play it. And they always have to go to this big thing about saying, don't do any recording or take any flash photography. So we never had. If there's an event we were going to go to one of the days, and they literally said no filming, so we couldn't film it because they said no filming, and we were always respectful of that. But he was literally, and I think it was said a little tongue in cheek, so I didn't film it.
Yeah.
But he's like, if you're going to take pictures, I want the flash on. I
Yeah.
want to see the flash happen. And I was like, man, and it was cool. It was just really cool because I think, whether you're a geek or not, or you're a gamer or not, I know some people kind of look down at gamers, or gamers get a bit high and mighty because you don't get it. But it was one of those kind of experiences where, like, I'm in my 30s, I've just turned 30. There are people there that are in their like 40s and 50s, and they played Mega Man. They played it back in the day. And there was a kid in front of us, he might have been 12, with his mom, and he was like rocking out. And he's rocking out to the old school games as well. Yeah. And it's just like this wide, diverse group of people that had just come to hear video game music. And of course, they finished on a real high note.
God, yeah. Their guest was Jesse Page, who was the singer.
The original singer from the original theme tune
of Pokemon.
Pokemon.
So it was like a once in a lifetime experience, and they brought out these giant inflatable Pokeballs that they made before the show.
They're, imagine like a beach ball, but like 4 times as big.
Yeah, and they threw them out onto the audience, and that people were like, the entire song too.
Yeah, like
people were throwing around the beach balls. Yeah.
Well, I see. What happened was he played the music from the video game for Pokemon, which is very orchestral and very much like very high, very John Williams-ish, very high and very kind of epic. And that was like the end of the performance. And he came out in this like new jacket and this yellow Pikachu guitar, and like we looked, it's like, we know what's going down right now. Yeah. I realized for some of you, like, you guys rocked out to the Pokemon theme tune. Go on YouTube and play it. Yeah. I dare you.
Well, yeah, because we knew that Jesse Page was there, so we were kind of expecting a Pokemon song to play eventually. So at the end, when they played the video game song, we were like, oh, okay, I guess that's all we're going to get.
Yeah, because they were doing a meet and greet. So and with a lot of the Sci-Fi Symphonies and a lot of the events Symphony of Scotia do, they will come out, like the lead orchestra or the people, like, for one of the Sci-Fi Symphonies, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers from Indiana Jones and Gimli from Lord of the Rings, he was there, and one of the guys from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Ensign Kim, Voyager rather, they come out and then you can get autographs and sign them and meet them. So we kind of figured when they play the Pokemon music versus the like theme song that Jesse's just going to be there and we're just going to get people just get singers there, because there's literally a kid dressed like Ash from Pokemon. He was like full on cosplaying, and I looked at Gina and was like, does that mean we're not going to hear the Pokemon theme tune?
I was like, I guess not. I don't know.
And then they introduced him and he came out. And if there's ever a guy that was like having the time of his life, it was him. Like he came out like he was Sting. Like he was in the audience. He was because people were filming him and he was grabbed. Like I think someone's Facebook Live in it. And he grabbed the phone. He got on the stage and he sang into the phone. He pulled some poor lady out to sing with him. She was
not happy about that.
And that's the thing is, like, as a community, we as geeks are fairly quiet, don't really like the spotlight. We enjoy what you do, but when you pull up on the stage to sing the Pokemon chorus, it didn't quite work out.
I would have been mortified.
So we were like, oh, I can't believe we didn't sit at the front. And when that started happening, like, so glad we didn't sit at the front.
Yeah. But it was just so, because we were singing and everyone was singing, and it was just like, it was so much fun.
And I know it will sound weird, like, especially if you've played games, like, I'm not sure I'd go to a concert for that. There's some music that when you forget how the skill that's in there and how much, like, how much talent the orchestra use because you're playing a game. And when you kind of hear, like, especially the old, like late 80s, early 90s stuff, which was all heavy guitar, and it's like, and there's a guy just ripping on electric guitar and there's an orchestra behind him backing, and you're like, wow, this is actually a lot more to this than what I thought. And it was just a really great experience. And the way it kind of like brought a community of people together reminded me a lot of like another event which I really, really love, which is Nocturne. Yeah. So Nocturne is an event which we made a couple of videos about, maybe one, I can't remember.
I think just one.
Just the one. Yeah, because it was my birthday. It came on my birthday. And that's an event with artists, and they do art installations across Halifax, and it's at night. So if you get there early enough, some of them will start like around like 5 or 6 p.m. and then when it gets into midnight, like different parts of the city are lit up, there's different places, and some of them are like they'll make a coffee shop into Central Park, and it's all based on Friends, and someone will be like Phoebe singing on stage, and then some of it will be you can go through different buildings and see all the art there, and and it's just like themed, and it's like you can never really. I could not guess what Nocturne this year is going to be like, but I can tell you it's definitely going to be different from what happened this year, because that was different the year before.
It's different every year.
There was one, I think the first year we ever went, which we weren't filming, and they had those lights set up in the public garden, and you could just see all this different stuff happening, and there's like someone was playing music, and the lights would change the music, and it's just like, never seen anything like that in my life. And then I kind of went back and was like, oh, we'll do it again, and it didn't happen. And your sister painted.
My sister usually participates. I'm not sure if she's doing it this year, but last year she was in the storefront of a store down on, I think it's on Gottingen Street, called Plan B, and she was just painting in the window, and people could kind of look through the window and see her.
She painted a giant telephone.
Yeah, she painted a giant one of the old telephone, like the
rotary
phone. Yes, thank you.
I'm a little bit older than Gina, so I know what a rotary phone is.
I know what a rotary. We used to have one.
Oh, well, she just forgot what it was called.
Yeah, I just forgot what it was called.
I just feel like events like that just bring out like this sense of community, and it's not, and like I don't want people to take what I said about the gaming community different, like offensively. I just mean that for some people, if it's like, I've never been a stamp collector, so if a group of people got together to look at stamps, I'd be like, I don't get it, because I don't. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a case of that's their bag and this was our bag, and and it's like it's just cool to see the different like little communities come together, and like no one's going to say, oh, you can't come because you're not a gamer, or you can't come because you're not an artist. Like, it's just a case of this is an event and we want everyone to be part of it, and that's what Nocturne is, and it's really cool to see. I also really like, the Symphony do such a good job. So Sci-Fi Symphony, and then I think there's two. The Sci-Fi Symphony, there's another one that's just music from movies. Or is that both Sci-Fi Symphony?
That's Sci-Fi Symphony, because they play like Star Trek.
Well, events like that when you get to hear the symphony play, because they're a really talented symphony, and even the people who organise video games live, they said like, it's probably one of the best symphonies they get to play with throughout the year. Now maybe they say that to everybody, I don't know, but he sounded generally sincere when he said it. And we've gone to a lot of Symphony Nova Scotia stuff, and they are good. Like, some of the music they play, you don't realise until you see like a full band playing the Star Wars theme or the Superman theme, how much work goes into that song. Like, the layers there, and they do a really good job of crushing it, because those are like iconic music, so if they get it wrong, you're gonna know. And it's really cool to see that.
Yeah, I just think it's really cool that they play other things other than just, classical, like what you think an orchestra would play, but they're up there playing like Harry Potter, and like, it's just, I don't know, it's just, it opens a door for other people to experience an orchestra when they might not have been interested in like classical music or something like that.
And in a weird way, I think it's because like I wouldn't sit here and say that I listen to a lot of classical music. I actually do listen to some when I drive, when I do long drives, because I find it very calming. But like I find when I go to Sci-Fi Symphony and then like I listen to classical music in my car when I'm driving along with like radio too, and they're talking about like Bach or Mozart, and like you hear them play, it's like it's way beyond my knowledge, but I kind of appreciate the skill that takes, having seen an orchestra copy something as simple, comparatively speaking, to like the Superman theme tune. And I was like, man, this guy wrote this, and these guys played this, like not even like within the same decade, like almost centuries apart. And I just think like it's really, it kind of opens you, you're right, it opens you to kind of new experiences, because there would be people who sat in that audience who go like video games live, that is their impression of symphony now, versus like when I grew up, symphonies played Mozart. That's all they did, and it was really cool to kind of have that experience. It's a bit like another event they do here is, I think it's around Christmas, or it might be early in February. I will apologise because I'm not that up to date on it. I remember lining up for it. The Neptune Theatre will do a performance where it's kind of pay as you go, or you pay but you go in for a donation. They lined up down the street for that, and I remember lining up with one of my best friends, Andrea, to go and watch The Jungle Book, and we got there like 3 hours beforehand. And I looked down and I was like, we ain't getting in. And we didn't get in.
I think that's going on now. It was a few weeks ago.
Is it? Yeah,
I saw pictures on Instagram of people lining up on the street.
You know what, you're right. I remember it being like March.
Yeah.
It was like this time of year, but I remember being snow being there. And that's another cool event because, if you, for example, have never gone to a show and you're like, man, like this is $50 ticket or whatever the price is, but you're not sure it's going to be something for you because, like, I'm not really big on musicals, but it's only because I've been, thanks to you, to musicals at Neptune that I'm like, man, these are really good.
And they're not always musicals. No, but a lot of the time.
But I mean, like, traditionally theatre stuff isn't for everybody. But I'd gone with you and been like, man, this is really good. And now, like, I wouldn't think twice about going to a production by Neptune. I would just go because they're so good. And it's cool, like, if you want to go to and kind of see what something is like or see what a theatre company can do, you get to go and it doesn't necessarily cost you full price, which it's always really affordable in Halifax. I don't think you'll find anywhere where tickets like, this is too crazy expensive.
Yeah, I mean, the tickets for Video Games Live were $50 each, which is a little up there. But you can there are like $30 tickets available that you can get. The seats are like in the balcony or, further back. And those ones actually sell out quite quickly.
Yes,
because they are cheaper. But I mean, you just kind of have to keep on top of it and order the tickets early,
Yeah.
But it is definitely another thing we go to around Christmas is the Nutcracker.
Yes.
Which we've gone to twice now, I think. Just
twice. I mean, events like that, they sound really simple. But sometimes I worry, and I was talking to somebody when I was in Vegas, and because I spoke about what we do in my Halifax and why we do it, and somebody's like, I don't get it. Like, what's the point? Like, if you're just telling people what's happening in the city and why it's cool for them to go, like, don't they just know? And I was like, yeah, and he was from New York, and I said to him, when was the last time you went to the Rockettes? And he's like, what? I was like, when was the last time you went to the Rockettes? He said, that's for tourists. And I was like, who says it's for tourists? And he's like, well, only tourists go to that. I was like, okay, so when's the last time you went? And he's like, when I was a kid. I was like, was it good? He's like, yeah. I was like, don't you think you should go again? He's like, actually, I should. And I was like, and that's why we do my Halifax.
Yeah.
Because I know, it's only, again, I don't know if it's because I'm an immigrant and I came here, and when I got here, it's like, man, this place is so cool because I didn't get to grow up with this. And I look at it, and when I talk to people and said, oh, we went to Victoria Park, we went to the Dingles, I was like, yeah, I went there a while, I haven't been for ages. And then when we talk about it, they will go and be like, man, the Dingle's cool. And it's sometimes, I think sometimes because we get so busy, you just kind of take things, not for granted, but for lack of a better term, granted. And you don't think about like, oh, I should go to Neptune. And I just think if you've got any hesitations, you can go to events that are make a donation and then go. And it's not like, well, I spent a bunch of money. It's like, wow, I went and it was cool. I'm going to go to the next show. Or like the Nutcracker for us is like a tradition. Like we usually always go around Christmas. It's one of the things that we always do. Like prayer lights, Christmas tree lighting, Nutcracker.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The Nutcracker, it is really great to go and see. I've gone a couple times when I was younger. And a couple times, I've been probably 6 or 7 times, I'd say. It is kind of the same thing every year. So just bear that in mind. It is kind of like you don't really get much of a like you know what you're getting every time you go.
That is true of many of the Christmas shows though. Like they do tend to stay the same way. I think it's I think in terms of looking for, I think if you go to any kind of show, like whether it be the Lion King musical or Neptune or the Nutcracker or something like that, it's probably going to be fairly similar. Because they're following such like a set narrative.
Yeah.
If you went to a different show like a Hamilton show where it's kind of they can change the structure of it more, you might see some growth there. But like we've gone to Nutcracker and it has typically been pretty well identical every time. That's not the reason we go. We go because it's like the tradition. Right?
Yeah, it's a Christmassy feeling. I actually have a funny story. My mom took me and my friend when we were probably 7, maybe. We were young. And I remember the big giant ice king always scared me. But when they first came out, because it's a ballet show, so it's just music and dancing. And when they first came out, the first scene, I think, when the girls are all at school and they're going home for Christmas or whatever, my friend whispered to my mom, she's like, do they know how to talk? Because we were young, we didn't understand the concept of ballet and how it's just, you know, an art form where there's music and dancing, no dialogue.
Yeah, see, because I must admit, when I went to Nutcracker, I was expecting dialogue. And like, that's because in England we have pantomimes, and they have an element of dancing with them and an element of acting. So when the dancing started, I was like, oh, this is the opening dance. And it never ended.
Yeah. That's really funny.
Yeah, but but I do recommend, like Gina's right, it's not going to, like if you went last year and you go to this year's Nutcracker, it's probably going to be the same. There's a little bit difference, like the opening dialogue's slightly different, like last time the caretaker guy led you into the narrative, but fundamentally it is always the same performance. Yeah. But it's good. It
is good. It always makes me wish that I could dance the way that they dance.
I can dance like that.
Oh, okay then. Yeah, I mean, what other... we're also going to Geequinox.
Yeah.
This weekend.
We are.
Which I think it's kind of like HalCon, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting. We've never gone before.
No.
So.
But I mean, I find it to be any of the events where it's kind of got like its own little community, or it's just full of energy, and I always like saying, oh, it's full of energy, because it sounds like a generic term, but you know, when there's a buzz around people and they gets excited about it, I love those kind of events. And I'm kind of a nerd and you're kind of a nerd, so going like Geequinox and HalCon and Sci-Fi Symphonies is right down our alley. But yeah, if you guys have any events you're like, oh, you guys would love this, let us know, because we're more than happy to go there and we're more than happy to film it.
Yeah, so I think we might wrap it up here. Thank you for watching this week's episode. Next week we're going to be talking about supporting local and why we think it's important and why we are always talking about it on our vlog. So tune in next week. If there's anything you'd like us to talk about, please leave a comment below, and have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye guys. At least you can cut that.
Yeah.